back to the Tailgate, everyone, for another installment of Tailgate University. Today we're going to be talking about pregnancy diagnosis in beef cattle. This is by far something that we're incredibly passionate about because we feel that it's one of the key things that beef cattle producers can do on their operations to help make their operations profitable and increase the money going into their pockets at the end of the day. Now, a lot of people shy away from pregnancy diagnosis or pregnancy checking because they don't necessarily have the skill or the confidence to be able to do rectal palpation or ultrasound. So today we're going to show you a real simple, quick, and easy way that you can do on-farm pregnancy diagnosis that anyone can do.
So now we're going to demonstrate the IDEXX Alertus on-farm pregnancy test. So this is what it looks like in a pack. On the back of it, it's got the procedure and how to interpret the results. I'm going to show you all the full process here. So what I like to do, I like to lay out my reagent pipette that I pull blood from. I go ahead and I get an EDTA vacutainer tube. I like to go ahead and put the cow ear tag number on it, even though we're only going to use it for just one quick second. And with the same cow, I just like to ID it. So I'm going to just stick that in my pocket. And then we have the test laid out here as well. I'm going to make sure we label that as well because you'll see the stack of other tests that we've done here shortly. This time I'm going to use a vacutainer needle. So if you look closely, you can see that needle comes out the top. And it also sticks down here inside this little hub. This is very similar to what they use in human medicine. You could also use a sterile syringe. It works exactly the same way. So let's go to the cow. So when we get to the rear side of the cow, we go ahead and uncap our needle, obviously. And I'm searching for that caudal tail vein, which is going to be right in the center of the tail. You see these two flaps of skin? You could normally follow right in between them. What I like to do is I like to start high because the blood is pumping through that vein down towards the tail. So if I start high, I can go down if I have a miss. But we're going to go in perpendicular right in between the vertebrae. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my tube on. And if you've hit a vein, luckily like that, the tube will automatically fill. Now you might have to adjust a little bit to get the tube to fill completely. We don't have to fill it all the way up, but we want at least a decent amount. I always like to pull the tube off of the needle before I pull it out of the cow. So now that we have a container of blood, we're going to invert that 10 times. Now that we've inverted that blood and fully mixed it together, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull out a pipette full. So I want to sterilely, as best I can, pull the top off of my tube of blood. I'm going to grab my little disposable one-time use pipette. I'm going to pinch this top bubble and I'm going to stick it down into the blood that's inside my tube. Inside the tube there is EDTA. And we want to fill that up. We only need it to fill up one time. We really want that bottom part of that pipette to be filled up. And if it is like that, there might be some overflow into this bottom bubble. That's totally fine. So we will dispose of our blood tube because we don't need that anymore. And then in one single motion, we're going to dispense this blood into the test portion of our chute side pregnancy test. Okay? And so you'll notice over here we have a C and a T, a place to write the ID, and then where we put the blood and the reagent that we're going to use. Now we twist the top off of our reagent and we add exactly 6 drops according to the instructions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we set it aside for 20 minutes to come back and view the results. So we're back with the test and we brought in a couple extras to show for examples. So this one right here, fancy pointer here with a screwdriver. This one right here, 1320, is the one that we did the demonstration on and pulled. So you can see we have a very clear control line, and we have a very, very, very faint test line. Okay, so this one is technically still incubating, but as soon as the lines show up, you can read that test. So to see a better example, we look here at 1326. This one right here, again, very clear control line, a much more obvious test line. For an example of an open one, we look at 1317 here. Again, a very bold control line and absolutely no test line, no faint, nothing. So as we zoom in close, you can see these faint test lines. On some of these others, absolutely none here on 1317. A couple other examples. Here is 1136. This cow actually is a little bit early to be tested, but we have a very, very, very faint test line right there. And then again, another example of an open one. This one is much darker and a little bit yellow because she was actually the first one we've tested. So this has been sitting out for probably 2 hours at this point while we worked the rest of the cows. So that brings up a good point. These tests, they are valid at 20 minutes post adding the reagent into the test. However, past about 50 minutes, close to an hour, reading those examples are no longer vital. So, join us back at the tailgate again the next time for some more cattle information.
So as you can see, the blood test is very, very simple and very easy to do. If you can give a shot, you can do the blood test. And the blood test is really accurate and can get pretty accurate down to about 28 days of pregnancy. But I would recommend and keep in mind that knowing that a cow is pregnant at 28 days is not a guarantee of continued pregnancy. So I would prefer to check these cows in about 45 days because then you know that that pregnancy is going to start. I appreciate y'all stopping by the tailgate. Hope that you'll stop by for our next series.